Well, Aaron, thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable.
Oh, thank you for having me. I know we've been trying like this forever, so I feel like we've been friends online forever, but we've never gotten to like interact outside of just messaging each other. So,
Yes.
wait a second. Are you in Oklahoma City?
Yes.
What time of day is it there, my friend? I'm
It,
also in Oklahoma City, and your
it is.
background
It
is
is. Yeah, I know. I'm downtown Oklahoma City. It's 5:03 p.m. and I know you're in Oklahoma City as well. So,
yeah. I was just laughing because I was like, I'm pretty sure the sun's still out.
yes, I know. Well, technically, I guess. Um,
Barely.
yeah, barely. I want to talk about what got you into this fun, crazy entertainment industry because I know a lot of people say, and it's the truth, it doesn't matter what state you're in, it's a thick skin. It's hard, and you have to have fast pace. So your story, Aaron, what got you into this?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story. So I started off in acting first. And the way that that started, the way I got the bug was, back in the 80s, to give my age away, we didn't have internet, we didn't have self-submission. We didn't have all these ways to like communicate with each other. You had to physically walk into auditions. You had to move to Los Angeles. You had to use the Thomas Guide in Los Angeles to get around because you didn't have GPS and all those things. So this idea that someone would find you on the corner of like Hollywood and Vine, that actually still kind of existed, up until really the internet, like to just kind of like get found was actually a thing. And that leads into my story where there was a little film here in Oklahoma, a very tiny film that you might have heard called Rain Man. Yeah,
Yes, I've heard of
Rain
that.
Man, starring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise, and that was filmed here in Oklahoma in 1985. And my mom and I were walking around the mall, and a guy came up to her and he was like, "Your daughter is just adorable." And I was a ham. I was like, at that time, I had an accent when I didn't even really need an accent. I just was a Southern belle walking around being so cute. And they're like, did you want to have your audition or your daughter audition for this film that we're doing? Well, she had no idea at the time what it was, who it was. I mean, now look at Steven Spielberg and everything that so she was like, sure. So we actually go to this audition at a building in Oklahoma City. And she had just given him like a little wallet picture that she had of me and like wrote her phone number on the back. And that was the first time that I ever had an audition for anything. So it's almost like it was destiny for me to like get the bug at the age of 5 years old. And so that's where it started. And even though I didn't get that role, it was just obvious to my mom that I was meant to be an artist in one way or the other, basically. So I actually started taking acting classes when I was 11 years old. My parents were going through a divorce, and I was having a very difficult time with that. So I was acting out a lot and just doing things that I shouldn't have been doing at that age, because I had a lot of angst and anger about the whole thing. And um, soccer wasn't working, sports weren't working, nothing was working to like help get me out of this phase in my life. And so my mom was like, "Ugh, what about acting classes, So she signed me up for an acting class, and I'm telling you, it saved my life because I walked into that class and they gave me this scene, and my acting coach was like, she could just feel that angst coming off of me. So she gave me kind of an intense scene. I was kind of the bully, in this scene and kind of mean, but we did a showcase. And when we did that showcase, I just was so into it, and I felt everything that I had been bottling up inside and all this stuff just come out through a character. And then it was like, it wasn't all gone. There was so much that was released from that. Like, it's almost like a spiritual awakening by being an actor when you can drop in and touch those emotions. That's what acting causes or forces you to do, is to really like experience emotions that aren't so awesome to experience,
Hmm.
embarrassment, guilt, shame, judgment, all of those things. And that lends itself to being a good actor though when you're in Hollywood because you're constantly being told no, you know. So basically, I took acting classes. My mom didn't want me to be a child star at all. And I'm so grateful for that because I graduated and I made the decision on my own to move out to Los Angeles later. So I was in theater all throughout high school. I just kept taking classes. You know, I didn't really do TV. I just was in every single theater show you could be in, a lead, you know. And I did that in community theater and I got a full ride in broadcasting. And when I
Wow.
was in, well, I know, but then when I got to school, I realized but I really don't like real life. Like, or it's not as fun as like putting real life in an artistic way, right? You know? So I think there's actually a lot more truth that comes from actors than newscasters themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell you, trying to get that newscaster voice, anyway, it was
Right.
not for me. And so my mom, like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna audition for this master's acting program in Dallas at the Las Colinas Movie Studios. And like 300 people auditioned. So I was one of 20 students that went down and I did this master's acting program. So it was kind of like the actor's studio where we would write for each other, we would switch out parts, but we learned all of the history from like all the way from Thespis, the very first actor, you know, through all the different phases of like, you know, kabuki theater in
Mm-hmm.
Japan or
Mm-hmm.
Greek, you know, all of the different types of theater. So I learned it all. And then as a group, we went out and lived that LA life. You know, there were like six of us in one little apartment, like cot style, you know, and you worked to be able to pay $20 for that one alcoholic beverage so you could just hold a drink while you're going to try to be cool and meet people at the parties, you know? And that was a very interesting experience and it was eye-opening. And you know, I actually feel blessed that I wasn't necessarily one of the skinny pretty California girls because a lot of them went through a lot of stuff that just wasn't okay, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in the industry. And some really bad things happened. And I saw some things happen. And at the time, it was like, oh, I was never skinny enough for a role. You know, I'm 138 pounds at 5'7.5". That's not necessarily fat. But, you know, in Hollywood at that time, that was fat,
And
you
it's
know?
changed now, correct?
It it really has. I mean, I think people are more accepting of curvy, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still like when you're talking about your main ingenue roles, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there are very few that
And
are gonna they're gonna cast a woman who has a
right.
fuller
And
figure.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I love your story and
No.
everything, but I just wanted to say, you know, the reason I said it's changed because I'm glad it's changed a little bit because it, it helps a lot of young students, a lot of kids, and a lot of teenagers, and a lot of young adults now. Because you're right. Back in the days, you know, people were saying my dream was being an actor, being
Yeah.
this, and then you realize, oh, I'm not this. Oh, I'm not the height. Or wait a minute, I can do it, but why you're asking for a certain height? And now it's glad I'm glad it's changed because they're realizing there are people who are talented out there. It doesn't matter what state you were in. I'm personally I'm glad um, California Hollywood production companies has changed, and you do see a
Hmm.
lot of actors in films in real life that you're like, wow, okay, you didn't expect to see that person in that film, or you don't expect the person her being that. So I noticing it, and I'm glad that it's changing, and it's changing for the better because you know if there's so many talented people out there, you know, and they want to be noticed. I feel like we shouldn't push them away because you know that's the way we are. If we are entertainment is the way to make people happy, make people laugh, tell stories. And so I think it's just, I don't want to say I think, it's important that we accept people who they are. And, you know, they were born maybe 5'4". I'm 5'4", okay?
Oh,
So
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
so 5'4" and 5'5". So, back in the days, maybe 5'4", 5'5" may not have been great, getting into the entertainment industry. And I could be wrong, don't quote me, but now you see actors who are 5'4" and 5'5" who are gaining the roles, and that to me is powerful, amazing. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say that.
No. Sometimes people have to cut me off because I get so
No.
excited and passionate about what I do that like I could be here for 4 hours and my husband would be like, I've had dinner ready for like. But no, there really is a change shifting into just wanting more natural people. And this industry goes in ebb and flows. So I think with the research, with not with the resurgence, with the surge of AI, I already see people wanting to push back the fake already. Like not wanting it. Like, how far are we going to go into like everything is perfect? AI, everything is perfect and flawless, right?
Hmm.
And so I think we'll go through this period and this push of AI where it's just kind of like people are sick of it. It's kind of like right now, directors are kind of sick of actors that Botox their face all the heck
Hmm.
because they're not getting true performances like real people because it's like trying to cry, but like my eyes aren't moving and like that's not normal. You know what I mean? So there's actually like period pieces. They'll actually on auditions right now, they'll say, look, you can't have had Botox for a year. And so I would really love to see that keep going. Because life imitates art and art imitates life. And that's why people end up with eating disorders. Because if we think we're supposed to be 90 pounds at
Hmm.
5'7" and a
Hmm.
half,
And real quick about AI, it's concerning, in my opinion, a little bit. Not 100%, but it is. You know, it we as human beings, myself as being a talk show, podcast host, this is me. I'm here. You don't want anybody else doing it, an AI sitting here asking you questions, right? Or an AI being on set or AI doing stuff. And I I think we need to be concerned and should we fully be concerned? Yes. And I believe it's kind of going fast, but it's kind of not. It's hard to describe it. And I believe that like you know if you play Madden or NBA, yes, that's different, right?
mhm.
But actors, you can't do that. You can't, make them catch a football or make them do all this cool stuff. It's athletes, they're already doing it. So shout out to all the athletes. So, and that's the difference between actors and athletes, in my personal opinion. Actors, they cry, they show the emotion, they're angry, and um, and that's one thing, and I think that a lot of folks are concerned. I mean, a lot of people who make films, you know, I think that CGI and all this stuff, it's amazing in my
Right.
opinion. But also I don't know how to say it. I think that eventually we start need to be concerning because we don't want to get AI involved in that. And I think it's not happening soon. It's long ways down the road. So, in my opinion, that's just me. But I think, my opinion, I'm a big Tom Cruise fan. Not many people are. Sorry. But
Well, he's a little shorty, so like he's
yes.
a very well-known,
Oh,
not so tall
yes.
actor. So of course you relate.
And I think, no, I don't want to say I think. I keep saying I think. A lot of people who've seen this movie, The Mission Impossible, all his movies, you are so surprised that he does his own stunts. He can hold his breath. Don't quote me. I've heard this, but don't quote me. For six
Seven,
minutes,
seven. Okay,
7 minutes.
six. I heard
Okay,
seven.
7 minutes, 6 or 7.
Mhm.
I tried that in the swimming pool just to see, right?
Yeah.
I can only do 3 minutes. So maybe less than that. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting
Really
there
good.
and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's a lot of training if 1 day or 2 or 3 days to get yourself to hold your breath for 7 minutes. And you see him doing an underwater scene with no oxygen mask. Don't quote me, could be wrong. Holding his breath, and you were timing that scene from the beginning to the end, and it's like, that is exactly 7 minutes. And you're like, what? And he's not struggling. To me, that's so empowering, so amazing. And that to me is so encouragement that he's showing, hey, AI doesn't need to do this. I can do this. So
That's
I'm a
awesome you said.
big shout out.
Yeah. I think that's great that you say that. That's so interesting about the 6 or 7 minutes. My husband's like, I'm pretty sure he's a reptilian. And I was like, okay, get out of here. We're not talking right now. I was like, one of the fun things about being an actor, finally getting to that. And that's the thing that's most concerning for me is like, or not concerning, is that we used to always work to get to this point where we got paid so much money for a film that we could spend a whole year doing what Tom Cruise does. We could spend the time training. We could spend the time on the diet. We could spend the time on the underwater gear and the things that we needed. We could stay at home all day and spend half of our day just holding our breath underwater because you got paid such great money to do a role, you know? And the days of the celebrity are they're slipping away. I don't know that the celebrity, the A-list actor, when you think of any that are our age right now, I can't think of a ton. When I think of A-list actors, I constantly go back to the Meryl Streep or, the Martin Sheen, who I'm so blessed to have in my life, and I had people that you might consider, some people used to consider A-list that really are just now working for SAG wages because they need work, you know? And so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I think that my thing with AI is that there were so many companies that kind of built up that I think that we're going to see a lot of them go bankrupt. And so it's almost like you guys went and you pushed and you put all this money into it. And so we'll see which companies actually fall out and end up maintaining.
Mm-hmm.
The areas where I see it affecting the most are going to be your animators, you know,
Mm-hmm.
your VFX artists. Here's the thing, it's going to make their lives a lot easier. They can take on more jobs at once because right now, you have a VFX guy and you take one tile or whatever they do. They're so amazing what they do, but it takes so much time just to do the VFX on like one little shot. And so AI is amazing in that they can at least like take it and have it be a framework for them to help them plan it. You know what I mean? So they can say, hey, I need you to create like an ice out in the middle of this, this area. What would that look like? And then it helps give them an idea, to work off of. And that's what I think is great about AI. Like, I think that we can use it in a beneficial way. I really do. But I just, as a producer, like, I don't want to replace all of my background actors with AI. I don't. But
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you, when we ended up shooting in Enid and it dropped down to negative 20 degrees on the one day I needed 200 background actors and they were dropping like flies, and I'm going back and I'm looking at footage, and it's like, there's nothing I wish more right now that I could just ethically put in about 100 black heads right here. So it looks like I had this many people,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I
Right.
think there are going to be a lot of filmmakers like me who still want to hire the person, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and still have souls and still have hearts and still love humanity, you know. But you're still going to have those people that are
Mm-hmm.
studio heads that it's always just about the money,
You know,
you
you said
know.
it right there.
Yeah,
You said it
they're
right there.
going to do whatever they can to
Emotions
save the money.
and tears and the feelings and all that stuff. You said it right there. 100%. I totally agree with you. I want to switch topic real quick because we're both in Oklahoma. And let's talk about the film industry in Oklahoma.
Sure.
Um, Not getting political or anything, but what do you believe? What we or you or other actors and producers and directors in Oklahoma can do to help maintain and grow Oklahoma City and the film industry. Because if you notice the states surrounding Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, I can't say anything about Kansas, haven't researched, but those states, the film industry is growing. I hear, you can correct me, the film industry is growing in Oklahoma. Now, in your personal opinion, as being an Oklahoma actress and a producer, what is your message and what's your advice and what you think that can help grow the Oklahoma film industry, Es- especially in you can correct me. I feel like we're not there's not enough Native Americans filmmakers, and I could be wrong. I feel like there needs to be more. So, and you can correct me. So the floor is yours. I know I asked you a lot of questions there. If you can't answer all of them, but um, if you don't mind, please respond to those.
No, I think that's a great question, a great sort of thing to discuss. So, I think that whenever we first start putting these incentive programs in, it was like, let's entice other people to come to our state. And I think that's great. I think we did some wonderful things with Prairie Surf Studios, and we got Tulsa King here, and we got Twisters here, and we did some amazing things with these really high budget films. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the state has to worry about the money coming in.
Hmm.
That's their job, right? And so, of course, they want these bigger productions to come in because it looks great for us to the lawmakers and everything like that. But what if we weren't just quite prepared for it yet? Like Tyler Perry didn't just move into Atlanta and then the next day they were, doing what they were doing. It took a really long time to build Atlanta. And they did it in steps. And they started creating producers and writers within the state, or writers were actually moving to Atlanta and starting to establish their careers there. But our incentive program, I mean, first of all, Oklahoma, I love Oklahoma, but let's get realistic. The film industry is known to be a little bit more liberal industry. So right off the bat, a majority of the people that have built successful careers in this don't typically like Oklahoma politically, but I don't like to talk about all that because I don't mix politics with my movies. I don't mix it with my church. That's just my preference is not to go
Same
there.
here. Same here.
But we still have to involve the government in some ways, because they're helping us get these laws passed. And I think that maybe what we need to look forward to help it keep going, is, this kind of also answers your question: is how do we get more representation for Native Americans?
Hmm.
And we need to be doing a couple of things. We need to have programs that are setting up producers and screenwriters in the state that are already here, that live
Hmm.
here, people like me and people like Kyle Harris and people like, excuse me, I don't want to put all these jobs on people by name dropping them. But we need to make it our responsibility to take someone who is diverse and who really has a desire and like maybe help them, right? Be their champion. As an actor, like maybe I meet someone who can't afford an acting class, but I still take them under my wing and like I help them and I mentor them in that way and figure out ways to help them get into programs because there are the Cherokee Film Institute, they're offering a lot of different programs, including acting classes and stuff like that. So we have got to have the people at the very top start in Oklahoma. And that's how we're going to build the local industry. And we're not going to do it with movies that are $200,000 to $300,000 because I'm sorry, they're not going to go much further than Tubi or straight to streaming on, you know, we need films that are anywhere between $3 to $7 million because that's just enough money to get at least one name actor that can sell your project. You need a good story, so you need good writers. It doesn't matter who you are or how much money you have. An actor is not going to say yes to a role if they don't like, if it's not a good script, right? So that's what we need to do. I mean, I think we've done a great job of like, okay, we've gone through PA classes, we've done all of these things. And I do see now that we're starting to see some people, host screenwriting classes and things like that. But I think that we need people that have actually done it in Hollywood to be teaching us here too.
Mm-hmm. And I and I
So we need to have a combination of those things. So mentorship and diversity, because when I was doing the one, and I was trying to have as much native representation as I possibly could, and it was very hard for me to find our lead guy. It was hard for us to find because he had to be kind of a whitewashed Native American like me who has no culture, isn't on the records, like it just I don't know anything about anything. You know what I mean? Like, and I say the wrong thing all the time, and that is Hawk. And so he had to not only have that, but then he had to be able to sing, he had to be able to play the guitar, and then he had to be able to act. So that was a very, very tall order. And I discovered that we just don't have enough trained people in the state of Oklahoma that are Native American. So that's what we need to be doing. Those
mm-hmm.
scholarships for acting programs, scholarships for writing. Like,
Yeah.
let's set up those things,
And
teach people how to produce, Adam Rock
right.
teaches producing classes, but we really need to be teaching people like all the way through post-production, how to sell the movie, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the classes that we teach, they kind of stop and don't tell you kind of how to finish. And then like I'm kind of in a situation right now where it's like, whoa, guys, we didn't plan enough for post-production and I'm learning the hard way. I got to go back to my financiers and be like, okay, look, I might need just a little more money, because I didn't know enough about post,
Right.
even though I had worked on so many sets. Like a lot of people may or may not know this, but my mentor is Sam Baldoni. So I grew up watching Justin Baldoni, and he's my brother from the other, and he's kind of going through a lot of stuff right now in the public eye that's really horrendous for all of us. But Sam was our co-producer on the one, and sorry, I got completely sidetracked. What was I just talking about? I do this all the time. I'll go down a rabbit hole. What were
No,
you
no.
talking about?
No, you were talking about the film industry, what can we help to grow Oklahoma? And I totally understand, the Cherokee film industry, the Oklahoma industry, the film industry, it seems like it's slowly growing. There's a lot of famous actors that are from Oklahoma. Um, what's his name? He graduated from OU, Boomer Sooners, but he was on Glee, and a lot of actors are from here. And I wish those actors will come back and help grow the film industry. Because if you look at Glenn, what's his name? Glenn Poole. He was on
Powell.
Twist.
Uh-huh.
Glenn Powell. I'm sorry, he was on
No,
Twisters.
it's okay.
And Matthew McConaughey. They both live in Austin now. That to me is inspiring because they're helping the film industry there, and I feel like that if we had actors that are from here that became famous, they could also come back and live here and help grow the film industry. And that's just my opinion. I love them, but I feel like that if you have something like that, that will help grow the film industry in the state of Oklahoma. So
1,000%. I think those are some good points. I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head except for James Marsden, who might be kind of on that level. But Matthew and Woody, I just auditioned for their TV show that they have down in Texas. Like they have a TV show already going.
I love them.
And yeah, so like what you said is right. We need the names are going to be the ones that help build it, definitely for sure, and keep the incentives going and fighting for it. And maybe that will be me here in the future. Maybe I'll be one of those
Hey, you
people.
never
Like
know, Miss Erin.
that would
You
be
know,
really awesome. We'll see how this film does.
my dream is to have my own talk show like Ellen DeGeneres.
Well, there you go. I think you can. This it's a new world, and what I love is like the new media. Oh, so yeah, like I mean, podcasters, I get most of my news from you guys now because legacy media just lies to us so much. it's amazing to me like how much I've discovered in the past few years about just things behind the scenes and how the real elite work and media works. And it's frightening. It can be scary. So I would love to build a better Hollywood here in Oklahoma. I
And
definitely would because I do not want to be near all the nastiness
yeah,
that
and I,
does exist.
that's what I love about being a podcast host, to interview actors and directors and hear stories of people being in the entertainment industry. So, Erin, what is your upcoming project? Any upcoming project that you would like to talk about?
So I have just been so involved in the first feature film that I actually raised the money for. I wrote, and then I'm Aunt Jordan in it. And so right now we're in post-production on that right now. And we just wrapped up post-production. So we submitted to Sundance and we submitted to Berlin. And my dogs are going crazy out there. I'm gonna kill them all. I'm gonna kill them all, including my husband. I'm like, what are you doing? I told you I had an interview. Hey.
I can hear them. I won't keep you long, I promise. But
No, I just have to be quiet so I can talk. No, so the one is a story that actually I started writing. So I suggest that all actors just start writing. Just start doing it. You may think that you're not a good writer, but that doesn't matter. Just start writing characters for yourself. You know, characters that you think you could play. Write a monologue, and that monologue could turn into a scene, which that scene could turn into a scene in a film. And then
hmm
you could take that character and launch yourself. You know, I always say there's only one Billy Bob Thornton, and that's true. He's a sling blade, right? He wrote, he directed, and he starred in. Well, there's only one Erin Elizabeth Cook. She wrote, she raised the money, she produced, and she didn't star, but she co-starred in The One, which also has Martin Sheen, Janet Kramer, Olivia Sanabia, and a lot of great actors right from Oklahoma. That was a very important part
Wow.
of this for me. You know, you have a lot of people that will still hire people from California for the little smaller roles and bring them out here, and I wasn't going to do that. So we have 25 actors that 20 are from Oklahoma, 5 are from Texas and Arkansas combined. So all Southwest region actors taking a majority of those roles outside of our leads. So
Amazing. I'm so excited
yeah.
for you. I can't wait for your
Well,
upcoming
thank you. Yeah,
film.
everyone look forward to it and follow us because we're going to have an awesome release next year and we're just starting our distribution tour and our festival tour now. We're very, very excited. Martin Sheen loved filming in Oklahoma. He went on the news. I don't know if you saw any of his interviews, and he talked about how wonderful the crews are in Oklahoma. So even having like a champion like Martin Sheen rooting us on from California like that is just such an amazing thing. So I do think the future is bright, but I think it definitely starts, you know, with the writing and where
hmm
the very beginning of it.
In the core
And
in
we need more of
Oklahoma.
those people. We need
Yes.
more creative people to start it here to build it out. So,
Amen. Amen. I love Martin Sheen. Amazing. Um, and you're right. It starts from Oklahoma, grow from there. And I hope you and we agree. Hope the film industry does grow in Oklahoma, keeps growing. Hopefully we will be the next Atlanta, Georgia.
that would be amazing. And since Marvel went overseas, you know, the future's wide open. So you
You
never know what could happen.
you never know.
But yeah, just make sure that people know that that money that there is it's not being it's all not all for naught. You know what I
hmm
mean? I think some people they just see the money that goes to twisters and everything and then never comes back, kind of like me. But we need to make sure that we're putting the little Oklahoma filmmakers up on display as well and supporting them and highlighting them as well. So
Yes, 100%. I totally agree with you. Let's keep growing Oklahoma film industry for
let's do
sure.
this.
Yes. Okay, Aaron, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Erin Elizabeth Cook Official. I do have a page on Facebook too, so you're welcome to follow me there. It's just my name, Erin Elizabeth Cook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I don't really do the X since it became like the X because I just there's so many social media things to like, you know, tackle and handle. But I would really appreciate it if everyone would follow the one feature film on Instagram and also the Facebook page. We'd really appreciate it. I think everyone's really going to love this really, really just profound movie with Martin
And
and
what's the name of the future film?
the future film,
Yes.
the one I'm talking about,
hmm Can you
or the
give the
one that I'm
name?
going to do next.
The next. Do you have the name for it?
So the movie that we just finished that we're doing right now, that's called The One. So you can
Okay,
already
that's what I
find
was making
everything
sure.
online for it.
Okay.
But I am going to, depending on what happens with this, I want to produce my passion project, which led to all this, which is called the Tentville Nights. And I truly believe that God kind of like put the timing in the right way because now we're seeing all these things that are happening with our houseless population. And now it makes sense to me why my passion project didn't happen first. If that makes sense. The
hmm
one came first. And then now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the Tentville Nights in my own way. So,
Amazing. I'm so proud of you, Miss Erin. And thank you
well,
for
thank you. I'm just so
representing
proud of
Oklahoma.
you too. Like, hey, look, you're like a amazing podcaster. That's so cool. So
No,
I really appreciate you thinking that I'm special enough to take the time to chat with.
I interview anybody in the entertainment industry, beginners, non-beginners, A-list, B-list, C-list, and we are a family in this entertainment
Yes.
industry. It doesn't matter what state you live in. We are
Or
a
what
family.
level you're at. And that's something that I
hmm
think was so humbling about Martin is like Martin went and worked with Noah, who's never had a role in his entire life. And he called him because they both live in Malibu. And he's like, hey, we want to meet and run lines. And they did that together. It doesn't matter what level you're at. If it's your first short film or if you're A-list, we've all done
hmm
it at different levels. You know what I mean? And the ones that
100%.
act like they're better than everyone else usually aren't the real deal anyways.
hmm
So, you know, yeah.
That's
But
true.
um,
I
yeah,
appreciate you.
keep
I
the
I
real people
love what I'm
close.
doing.
I love that you love what you're doing too. I didn't even know like who's your agent here?
Well, I'm doing this on my own.
Are you? Okay.
Yes.
You don't want
Yeah.
to get an agent and try?
Right now, not yet. I've been
Okay.
doing everything on my own. It's crazy. Um,
Okay.
it's I know what you're saying, Aaron. I've been doing this since 2018,
Yeah.
and I've been doing it
Just
for,
trucking and just doing it all on your own.
yes, all on my own. I
Well, I
know.
think that's awesome. And you'll get to a point to where you'll need an agent
Yeah,
eventually. But
and I
that's
always
some
tell myself, yes, I need to get an agent, but I always, it's in my head, to be honest. It's just don't worry, Oklahoma agents, you'll hear from me one day. But you know, I've just been doing it by myself, and it's just, when it's my passion, my dream to do this, to keep going and keep going. It's just like finding my guest on my own, doing the research on my own, reaching out on my own. I used to have a co-host, but doing it by myself, I don't mind having a co-host. It's a journey, and I love what I'm doing. This is a passion, interviewing guests from California to East Coast, from North to South to Australia to Hawaii and Europe and Canada. I've interviewed actors, and we all have something in common. It's the passion, it's the love. We love what we're doing, storytelling and helping their community, but also helping the entertainment industry. That we're a family. That's I think that has changed me. Um, each guest I had on my podcast has changed me. Every one person, every director and producer and a singer and a, a comedian has a story that has changed me. And every guest I said has changed me because you hear their stories and their passion that makes you more fired up to keep going and doing what you love. And it's like, don't stop, go for it. So here I am, and I'm still going.
I think that's so awesome. It's very empowering. And yeah, our industry is actually very small at the end of the day. And I do find that a lot of us actors, we're sensitive, you know. So this is like the worst thing for us because we're so empathetic. So our feelers get hurt real easy. You know, because we feel so deeply and we feel so much. And so that's also something that we have to help each other, protect each other, and like just love each other and love on each other and know that what we do is can be very hard on us internally and mentally, but it can also be very good for us. So
Hmm.
I just, when I started focusing on what I could do to be of service to others in this industry, as opposed to focusing on, you know, what was this industry doing for me after this many years? When I really just started waking up every day with gratitude, and when I just every day was like, oh, I'm so grateful that I get this opportunity. And I'm like, man, today I wrote this really cool character and I got to perform this monologue in my back room and show these people, like, look how I did this, you know?
Hmm.
And maybe I'm not an A-list actor, but I'm doing things and I'm giving back to other people. And when I started giving back to other people, that's when the industry just started giving back to me. So when you make anything about everything else but you, I truly believe that the universe and God and the world reciprocates. So
Hmm.
I think you're going to have a wonderful future. Just
Well,
keep to
I
the
appreciate
grindstone
it.
and
I appreciate it. That means a lot. Aaron, I look forward to speaking with you again on my podcast.
yeah, let's do it again sometime when my AC is actually working and my dogs aren't going completely bonkers in the
No,
background.
it's okay.
No, I'd love to come back and talk once we have our official release dates and once we
Yes,
know everything
please
that's going on. I
do.
would love to come do like a press release type thing with you, and Martin would do like I can give you some little snippets of some of the actors and things like that, some of their
Yes, yes,
interviews to put
please. I
together
would love
also.
to have you back.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I would love to invite you to a premiere too, so we'll stay in touch, okay?
Yes, and thank you for following me on Instagram, and I look forward to speaking with you again on my podcast.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thank you so
All right,
much.
talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye bye.